Right now, this is my finished job. This is my readout. It's about 400ths of a millimeter. Probably about 2 thou, maybe a little bit less than 2 thou. That I am well pleased with. It's at about 400ths. So a little explanation now on all of that. Okay, now so I've taken this about as far as I think I'm going to go. I'm quite happy. I'm very happy with. It's about 1.5 thou if you're getting that particular about it. It's just under 2 thou, and for what I do, that's pretty okay. Now, if I use this guy, it's a bearing on a shaft. Stick it on here and line it up. Just nip it up, then line it up. Cuts that in about half. But just chucking it in like that, tighten it up. So I'm very happy with it. Now, I think I am finished. In the last video, I was running a bit more than that. I was running about 600ths or something, and I was kind of happy with that. And I had something in the truck that I took out, put back in, and was off. I was trying to figure out what the hell was wrong. I used that yoke, I straightened it up, and I noticed my cut every maybe 10-15 millimeters to leave a little ring. I don't know now if the camera's going to pick that up. But just a little mark. Now you can send them out. And long story short, fiddling around, I noticed that I was tapping it and mucking about, and I noticed my number 1, which is the bottom jaw here, took a bit of travel. I just tapped it with, I think, just the end of this yoke. Give it a tap like that, and it moved. So I had ordered new cutters from Cutwell. Ordered them on a Monday, and they were actually here on Tuesday, but that can happen sometimes if you order early enough in the day and they stick it in the post. It does make it here next day. Usually it's 2 days. So I took the truck off again, opened it, cleaned it. Now there was quite a bit of muck in there. Now I did that when I got it first, but that's about 10 years ago, and there's quite a lot of work done since. Cleaned it out, put it back in, and I wasn't out 600ths, I was out just over 0.6 of a millimeter. Over half a millimeter out. Whoa. So I went back to trick 1 again, set it up, worked on it. Again, I marked the insides of these with a marker, or we call them markers. And I recorded all of that with this famous new camera that I got. Ordered it last September. It was supposed to be the best thing out there for YouTube videos. It's got great reviews and everything. Ordered in September. It took about 9 weeks before I eventually got it. I got held up in customs and all of that. Came in from the States, cost me $200 and something. An absolute ball of fucking shite. Light was bad. Sound quality was an absolute disaster. So I'm back. What I'm using now is an old Samsung camera, Galaxy 3, and it works fine. Picks up the sound, everything. no issues. So I'll just probably try and just a little clip out of this thing, and you'll see, you know, especially this light over here over me up. Fiddle with all sorts of settings for lights and incandescent lights and fluorescent lights and LED lights and all this sort of thing. No difference, there's a heap of junk. So only for that, if I'd used this bloody thing, I know it would have worked and recorded it properly. Even the last video which I'd done with it in daytime just didn't come out very well. The sound quality was very poor. So as I say, cleaned it out, got it back in, went back. I was running this time, I ran it around 495 RPM. Very light cuts. I'd only be moving it about 200s at the time. You know, you're looking at about a thou, maybe a bit less, and doing a spring cut on every movement as well. Very slow feed, as slow as the thing will go. And this is what I wound up with now, considering it's old, the truck is old, these guys are old. I think it came out pretty well, came out very well. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than having to go and buy a grinder, tool post grinder and stuff. Now if you have one handy, fair enough, and that will probably help, that idea of cutting these slots. Tips, yeah, very slow, and do a spring cut with every one, and even at the end I think I gave it probably about 3. I gave 2 spring cuts at least, and then just like now I just put this in, didn't do any lining up with it or anything, and I came out around 0.04 of a millimeter. I then used the trick that I was just showing there, using this with just a bearing on it. You know, you run it in, well, not from this side, and it's brought it down to maybe 2 to 300ths. But I'm happy with the fact that I can pop something in there. If I have it out, the most is, you know, I can slap it in anywhere. The most I'm going to be out is probably around that 4. So that's less than 2 thou. That's where I'm normally going to be, you know, around 2 thou when I slap anything back in. That I'm happy with, that I can live with. So that's it, that's my update on it. As I say, unfortunately, the recording, you couldn't use it. It's all whitey, and then it goes black, and it goes kind of blue at more times, and the audio is an absolute disaster on it. It was expensive, took time to come from the US. Just, yeah, forget it. You know, you can get something there from China for a couple of euro, probably work 10 times better. That's basically it. I'm happy with that. I don't know what my next project on this thing is going to be. Everything else seems to be fine. So I hope that helps. If any questions, put them down below. I've been getting questions through my Facebook page, which I rarely go on Facebook, but normally get notifications like somebody said something. And it's, the usual question is, are you the guy that has this thing up on YouTube? Why people don't answer on YouTube, I have no idea. That I can't figure out. So that's basically it. It's the background noises. We were fairly heavy rain here at the minute. And yeah, probably the most important thing if you are doing this, clean the chuck first. Had I done that, I would probably have got away with the first job. Definitely clean it. I know this thing is big and heavy, and they're a lump to move them around. It's a pain in the neck every time you have to change to the forejaw or that. It was easy to take apart. Now again, I recorded that with that other heap of junk that I had. You couldn't put it up. But we'll just take it out, take out the jaws, get it off, take off the cam locks at the back, undo the screws around the back here, and you'll find that there are 3 that don't actually hold it together. There's probably 6 that hold it together, and there are 3 then. And you actually tighten them in. If they come, if you take them all out, you'll see the 3 different ones. And all you do is you just tighten them down gently, give it a little tap of a page door, as we call it, a hammer, and it'll actually come off. Now, that hadn't been opened in 10 years, and I had absolutely no problem with it. These guys, when you have it opened, it's up this way. Now, I had a brass, it's like a chisel kind of thing, and I tapped them. Now, they do take a good bit of a tap, like you'd want to treat them a bit like an unruly child, give them a good slap, and they just pop out. And once they're out, the gear comes out. It's only the one sort of worm that comes out, and you can clean the whole lot. I use kerosene. It's what I normally use for cleaning most things. Sometimes, depends on what I'm working with, might use petrol sometimes, with kerosene. But that is probably the most important thing I would have to add to the whole thing, is clean the truck first. You'll save yourself a whole pile of grief down the road, having to go back in and mucking around again. And again, those tips, they're over there somewhere, from Cutwell. Now, the one I use, there's little or no wear. There's a good radius on them. It was a lovely clean job. I got 2, and I got 2 end mills, and carriage was 70 to 75 euro. But as I said, a whole hell of a pile cheaper than buying a tool grinder. But you will need a decent, good heavy, like if I had a good heavy boring bar. So that's it. I'll leave it at that. It's time to, as we say here, it's cow time. Time to be thinking about getting something to eat.